Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Leadership Spotlight, the podcast that shines a light on the art and science of leadership. I'm your host, Amandeep Singh, and as an emerging leaders coach, it is my privilege to guide and empower individuals as they embark on the leadership journey. If you have still not subscribed to the channel, subscribe now to learn the leadership skills from leaders themselves. In this podcast, we'll be diving deep into the world of leadership, exploring the strategies, skills, and mindset required to lead with purpose, authenticity, and impact. We'll be featuring insightful conversations with exceptional leaders from various fields, tapping into the wisdom and unraveling the secrets of success. But this podcast is not just for seasoned executives or established leaders. It's for everyone who aspires to make a difference, no matter where they are on their leadership journey. Whether you are a young professional eager to climb the corporate ladder, an entrepreneur forging your own path, or an individual lead within your community, the leadership spotlight is here to equip you with the knowledge and inspiration you need to thrive. So, today we have Mr. SPS with us. So, while introducing to the SERV, SPS Jaggi has been a successful HR professional for last 37 years. Now running his own corporation over there on the name of Leapfrog Associates into the training function over there. He has been seasoned professional. He has worked as a director as a for the this one. Uh, He has retired as a director for Shipping Corporation of India, and prior to that, he has been working with Steel Corporation of India as a associate director over there. So, welcoming you to uh, Mr. Jaggi over there. So, a very very warm welcome to Jaggi sir over there.
Thank you. Nice to be on your show.
Yeah. So, Jaggi sir, can you just tell us about your background and how you started into career over there?
Okay, it's quite interesting to recap a career of more than 37 years. We I joined Steel Authority of India Limited, Bhilai Steel Plant as a management trainee in 1983, and in HR we had a system at Bhilai that all the young entrants to HR would have to go and face the tough and furious IR situation at the mines. So my first 3.5 years were in at Rajara mines, where we uh, faced lots of issues, lots of gherav, lots of in IR issues. But that provided us with a great learning ground, learning platform, which could give us a basis of a long career. Then I came back to Bhilai, worked in the plant in various positions in HR. And after working in HR in different departments, in 2007, I was selected and picked up to head the corporate communication department of Bhilai Steel Plant, where I worked there for 5 years. And then on promotion as general manager, I worked in business excellence, looking after CSR, liaison and administration. I worked there in this position for 5 years. And then I was promoted as executive director, personal administration in sale corporate office, where I worked around 18 months. And then I got selected as director personal shipping corporation of India, Mumbai. That was my last position. Around 3 years I was with shipping corporation and retired in November 2020. And now I'm back at Bhilai, and I'm now a corporate trainer and consultant, HR consultant, and also trying to continue my passion of being a quiz master and a quizzer, having done the IR quizzes for almost 12 years. So quizzing has been quite dear to me, and I think this is in a nutshell what I can say about myself.
That
Thank
has
you.
been a lovely journey for a person, a young professional into the mines and a quiz master. That is a unique thing that is coming out.
Thank
So
you.
what were your biggest challenges you have faced early in your career, and how you have overcome those over there?
Yeah, it has been a roller coaster career, I think. I think that's true for anybody who has worked for such a long time in the public sector or private sector. But it was like a trial by fire sort of thing when I was posted to the mines. And my initial posting was as junior manager personal welfare. And while it sounded a very, very simple posting, but it was like a can of worms there because
Yeah,
I was the first executive position and I could find that lots of problems, lots of issues, lots of integrity issues were there in the sports and culture department of that mines.
yeah,
And I was, I think, quite naive at that point of time dealing with people. जैसे बोलते हैं ना काफी लोगों से पाला पड़ा and initially I used to feel very frustrated where I could find that just being a manager does not help you lead people. You have to
yeah,
win. You have to win their confidence. You have to show your expertise.
yeah,
So the first couple of years at Mines was really tough because you when you just come from college and you are very young, you don't know the ins and outs, the intricacies of dealing with difficult people. Dealing with difficult people is a challenge. I
yes,
think
it is.
that grounding helped me, and I think after that, even whenever I faced really difficult people, people who were troublemakers, people who were you know whose goals were not aligned with the company's goals, I think that grounding at the mines helped me deal with those people with a reasonable amount of
Yeah.
success. Thank you.
So because I can say that whatever the systems or whatever living must have been there because I visited the Korba mines while my tenure in the Tata Motors over there. So
Yes,
I've
yes,
seen type of the uh, you can say the climate over there, the people working,
yes.
and how you have to hustle from the task. That is a big thing over there.
See,
That was
otherwise,
a nice thing.
my while the work was quite challenging, and but we enjoyed ourselves because we are five people from a group, from a batch. Five of us were there, and we used to.
Yeah,
A good thing which we did, which I always tell, but whenever I talk to youngsters, that every evening at around 1 hour we used to sit and discuss what has happened in our day in the office. That vicarious learning from each other was a big asset because while I was in one position, my other four batchmates were looking after other areas of HR. And
yeah,
every evening we used to sit and share experiences, learnings, failures, successes. So you can say that 3 years was almost equivalent to 10 years of experience because we learn from each other. And this is what I always emphasize to whenever I talk to youngsters or young managers that one is learning directly, other is learning vicariously through the experience of other people.
other
So we should always utilize that. Look for case studies, read autobiographies, look for leaders. This I think podcast is just that. I mean, some of
that is the main purpose of the podcast.
yes,
And the people
yeah,
who
some
are the
of
emerging leaders who
yeah,
are coming here, they can learn
yeah,
from the various leaders who are coming on
maybe,
this podcast.
maybe yeah. Some
Uh,
at least even if they take one nugget of wisdom from us, I think that one nugget of wisdom will help them in their career. That can be proved to be quite
sure,
critical at times.
sure. And another thing which has came out is that mastermind matters a lot. Your mastermind can help you to grow a lot.
Yes, yes,
The people whom with you are sitting over there, that is a big thing.
yes.
So
And we were like, yeah. Sorry, please continue.
yeah, so you must have met a various difficult situations over there, pivotal moments in your career, where you have to make some difficult decisions over there. So, what your approach is there on that decision? How you reach to that? If you can share a light on that.
See, there have been number of pivotal moments and number of make or break moments in the career.
Yeah,
One happened right at October 1984, the time of the national crisis, where
yeah,
where I was, without any fault of mine was just plunged into that controversy, and that taught me many things. That taught me, one is that you should always create psychological safety in your team. It is a big lesson, big painful lesson for me that unless you create the psychological safety in your team members and your subordinates, they may not come forward to give you good advice. And that lack of advice probably sometimes can make you commit blunders. And
Yeah.
something like that almost happened to me. So, one very important thing which I always did, which getting inspiration from Swami Vivekananda, and which I always share with my students and my young friends, that reflection and introspection is very important. As Swami
Most.
Vivekananda has said that have a meeting with yourself once every day, otherwise you would miss the opportunity to meet the most intelligent person in the world. So I don't say every day, but I used to reflect every week. Every week I used to spend 1 hour writing my diary and seeing what has happened, what lessons I have learned, what mistakes I have made, what failures have occurred. So that brick by brick, that experience, that introspection, that reflection, added to my repertoire and added to my abilities as a manager. So pivotal moments have been many. Many times I have faced when I came back to the plant and was made in charge of a fixed shop where there were 2,000 employees. I was a single person officer for 2,000 employees, critical shop of the plant. Again, I found lots of malpractices, lots of restrictive practices, lots of corruption, and with that exuberance of youth and that foolhardy courage which youngsters have, I plunged right into that group, and they threatened me. I got lots of threats, lots of challenges were there, but I was lucky to have a support of my seniors. And I think most important for an HR person is to have a direct connect with the employees. I always maintain that while union is there, many times unions can be a force by themselves, and we have to deal with the union. But if you are as a personal manager, personal officer, able to do the work of employees, treat them nicely, talk to them properly, give them a seat when they come, give them respect, then many times you can bypass the union and their employees will come forward and support you. I faced
Yeah.
many challenges where the union probably wanted to confront me, but I found that the employees of the shop, they came forward to support me, and their love and affection, which I could earn with a lot of difficulty, lasted for
Yeah.
me even 20 years. Even today, when I go back, some of them are still there and they remember my tenure of 4 years in the shop. So having direct connect with employees was an important lesson for me as an HR manager. That if you do the work of people timely, maintain your credibility, keep your promises, employees will always support you.
Yeah. So the people connection matters a lot.
Yes, it matters a lot, very much.
Yeah. Yeah. So another is that how you have been able to stay resilient and persevere through tough times in your career over there.
Yeah,
That is
that's interesting question. Today, all of us, I think, when we are growing up as a manager, just let me have a glass of water. I think resilience is a word which has now become quite common. But
quite common because the thing is that the fall is imminent. Earlier, the
yeah,
thing was that you were going through one phase and the person has to stay there and everything matters. But now the fall is imminent. The people are falling a lot in their emotional over there, in their career over there, a lot of them. So,
yes,
how you have handled those stresses over
yes. In fact, resilience is something I also talk to youngsters, because I know the youngsters of today, most of them have lived a very sheltered life. They have, economically also, they have not faced the challenges as youngsters, shortage of money, shortage of resources. So, whenever and everything goes very smoothly for them, they get a
there.
good
Yeah,
life, good college, good job. And when the first time they encounter some,
failure
crisis,
over
they are almost shattered. I'm aware of that. But as far as my generation is concerned, who came through a lot of hardship, personal hardship, economic hardship, and my own background was quite difficult. I lost my father at a very young age. So I think I had that grooming of that toughness was there, and my initial postings in the mines and all helped me a lot. But one is while you can, fall back on your own experiences whenever you face such situations.
yeah,
But if you read a lot, if you, I can only say two things. Whenever I face, and I've faced lots of difficulties, lots of challenges in my career, I used to fall back on two experiences. One was a film, which I always also recommend now to my students. Papillon was a movie. The first movie I think had come in the 70s. Steve McQueen was the hero. Papillon is a true story of a French prisoner who was imprisoned in an island, and for almost 40 years makes several attempts to escape. And finally, after around 40 years, he finally escapes and lives a life, and he writes that book. So one of the scenes on that movie was when he escaped a number of times, they put him in a they put him in a solitary confinement small cell and only gave him salt and water to as a food. And when they opened the door after 15 days of solitary confinement, they were expecting him to be either dead or so much malnourished that he would not survive. But he came out hale and hearty. How did he survive? They show in the movie one is he keeps on doing exercise, second is he has no nourishment. He has nothing in that black solitary cell. He finds cockroaches there. He takes out the sting from the cockroach, dips the cockroach into the soup, salt soup, water, and eats because insects, have got lots of proteins. He survives on
yeah,
cockroach. So whenever I face difficult situations, both at the personal level or at the official level, I used to remember that scene and tell myself, damn it, I'm not having that situation. So that reflection was important. Similarly, when I read from about Marshall Goldsmith, as you are aware, as a good coach, is a
yeah. He's a
a fantastic author. So he writes in one of his books, I think it is Triggers. He writes there that when he was in Ethiopia, it was famine, food was short, children were dying of hunger, and the supplies was less than the demand. So writes in that book that they used to look at the elbows of small children and take a decision that this child is beyond saving. So
yeah,
no point, not no point in wasting the food for that child. Better to give it that food to a child who has a chance of surviving. And Marshall Goldsmith writes, can there be anything worse than this in the life where you are condemning a child to death based on your decision? And he says, after this exposure, I find all the problems in the world like missing a promotion or missing a flight or a flight getting cancelled and we get caught in a traffic jam. These are so trivial issues. So whenever I was in a problem, I used to reflect on Marshall Goldsmith experience, and that picture of Papillon eating cockroach used to come to my mind, and my own experience of facing lots of hardship, both at the personal level.
yeah,
These used to help me tide over the situation and said, oh, I am much better than this. I have a job. What happens if we have committed a mistake or we are facing a vigilance case or we are losing a promotion or getting superseded? These are all trivial matters in the journey of life. So this sort of personal experience and reflection from films and personal experiences of other people helped me tide over difficult situations.
yeah.
Thank you.
Even I can share you a small thing over here. Just a week back, so we were having some classes over here, and we were coordinating those. And but the last day was obviously the prize distribution function, and we gave the prizes to everybody. Only there were some special prizes. And one of the girl's mother came to us after that her daughter also has done some good thing, but she is crying. She hasn't won the better prize.
Okay.
And we only said that okay, that there is a lot of improvement into that, and we can give her a prize. but let her face some. She hasn't. She's a girl that who is standing first every time, winning the prizes, everything, and with only a small thing that is not given, getting only a small function over there, and she's crying badly. And we were just trying to convince her that to her mother that let her face some failures, because if you
Yes,
are not
yes,
preparing your daughter to face some failures, and she's exceeding in that, and she may when she grows up and faces some failure, it will be tough for her to get rebounds back over there.
quite right, quite right.
That
Life is
that is happening with this
life.
generation a lot.
Yes, yes, I know that. That is why I also emphasize on resilience and all those things because see, all of us remember 100 centuries of Tendulkar, but do
Yeah.
we know how many times he's got
How,
out on 0-0,
99.
10 to 20
Even
or
at
so?
99.
So
Even at
yeah,
99. That is the thing.
failure in real life there are more failures than successes. We have to be clear about that.
There are a lot of failures and successes, but the thing is that we are talking about successes. So the failures are now the thing that the thought is that we should not fail. But the thing is that the more you fail, the more you learn.
Yes, yes, obviously. Yes.
And another thing is that more early you fail, the more early you learn, and more
Yeah,
quickly you fail,
yes,
the more early you learn and you rise over there.
yeah, yes. That's why
That is the
companies
thing.
say fail early, fail fast. Yes, that's the slogan
Fail,
actually.
yeah, right, rightly, sir.
Yes.
So, sir, have you faced any bigger failure, and how did you respond it back to that?
Like I said, failures have been there.
Yeah,
There was when I remember when my posting as corporate communication, my first posting, first press conference for the minister which we had organized, and it was a big failure in the sense lots of media personnel from the capital city of Raipur had come, and due to various grievances which they had with my predecessor, they used the opportunity to bring them out, and it was a big disaster in the sense the press conference of the minister was a big disaster. Almost, I just completed, I think, couple of months in that function, and I probably almost lost my position there. But then that taught me good lessons, and again, the importance of having a direct connect with all the media personnel was there, and thereafter checklists, SOPs, and I think after that, maybe more than 25 press conferences of chairman or the minister and all we did, and we could execute them flawlessly based on the
yeah,
learning from that. So failures have been there in all positions. As a general manager, also failures have been there. But sometimes, just because of certain personality issues, you face problems. Like, I always say that life in a career comes in circles. Today, you're on
yes,
top, you're a star, your bosses love you, and you have got a good brand image. And then suddenly, what happens? One fine morning, your boss and boss's boss both get transferred, and a new team comes. And
yes,
you don't have to start from zero. In fact, you have to start from -5 because when the new
yes,
team, all your detractors will be telling the new bosses that this man was the blue-eyed boy of the predecessor, and somehow everybody has got an allergy to predecessors. So the new
yes,
boss, the new team will not put you at zero. The new team will put you at -5. I have gone through this. Then, but through your stint of your hard work, your competence, your ability, you have to bring yourself back from -5 to zero, and then from zero to 7 or 8 or whatever it is, and then the new team accepts you. So I've gone through that phase. I've seen those failures. I always emphasize that whenever I was in my most darkest moments, when I could see that my career is now going to be stalled, I may retire as a general manager because of various personalities and extraneous issues. I used to tell myself and others that it is in the organization's prerogative to give me a position or a grade or a promotion, but
yeah,
whatever competencies, abilities, skills I have got, that nobody can take from me. I always believe in that. I always tell youngsters when I talk to them, You are your biggest asset. Continuously invest in your asset because that nobody can take from you. And today, when I have superannuated, I can share with you, nobody cares two hoots what level you have retired. If you have competence, if you have certain skills, if you have certain knowledge, if you have abilities, if you have domain expertise, people will give you an opportunity just by
Yes.
designation or no. So I always, whenever I faced a crisis, I looked inward and said, okay, am I at fault? Am I responsible for this situation? If not, let's forget about it. Let's keep working. And God is there. My my
Yeah.
favorite my favorite motto is success comes when opportunity meets preparation. This is a
Uh,
motto I emphasize. God gives
right.
all of us opportunities, but have we prepared? Are we ready for that opportunity? If we are
Yes.
ready, success will come. This has been my motto in
So,
life.
very rightly said. Even you have said that thing that you have to invest in yourself a lot,
Yes,
because that,
continuously.
that is the thing that you have to be on the continuous learning. The learning can't be stopped with the particular age. So
Yes,
you have to continuously invest in yourself. We
more
as we
so.
talk with
Yes, yes,
as I
more
talk
so
with a lot of
youngsters.
people over there, as
Yeah.
I coach them over there. So it is that you have to invest in yourself so that you come out of the inhibitions, your own mindset over there. You come out
Yes, yes.
with your shortcomings. There is a person who can help you over there.
Wait, wait. See,
That
when I talk to youngsters today, I tell them, people who have just joined, I go to various companies for their induction programs and talking to youngsters. I take sessions on officer like quality and all those. I tell them, people, youngsters who are around 25, 28 years, I tell them, again, I have no inside information, but I tell those people who have 30, 35 years of career ahead. That one thing is, even in the public sector, I tell them, probably by the time you retire after 35, 40 years, the retirement age may be 65 or 70, your longevity may be 100. And not only you will have to change number of companies, the way AI and everything is coming forward, I tell them you may have to change three or four professions in the next 35, 40 years.
yes,
So continuous unlearning, relearning has to happen. You can't now just say that okay, you passed your college and now you joined the job and you cannot do that. It was never the case, but more so for this generation, they have to continuously invest in themselves because the future is going to be very, very volatile. As we say, VUCA world and all those things. Now it has really
yeah,
come. We have been talking about VUCA for the last 25 years, but now we are actually in the volatile,
volatile
situation.
world over there.
Yes,
Even
absolutely.
the change is happening. The world is changing at a very fast pace. If the
Yes,
skills
yes.
will help you to survive, but again you have to upskill yourself with the various new skills. That is the
Continuously
thing.
upskilling. Continuously.
Continuously upskilling yourself. You
Keeping,
have to
keep,
invest in yourself a lot.
yeah,
You have to learn new skills. Hire the thing is that you have to hire the people to groom you. That is the
quite
thing.
right. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, you can always, yes, fine. You can always look up professional coaches and all that who can guide you because I always tell youngsters, read good magazines, read autobiographies of business tycoons, engage coaches, or if you have facility where you can look upon a mentor, look at mentor.
Yeah.
I lot of mentoring of youngsters. Wherever I go and take a session, I tell them this is my email ID. Don't think as a
Yeah.
one-off. Anytime you want any help, any guidance, I'm available because that gives you more joy when somebody, even today when somebody comes and says, 15 years back, I had one interaction with you, or I had, you know, uh, attended your training or class and that helped me. That gives me more joy than anything else because
That
they
that
start,
is that gives a big thing that when your mentees come to you and say that
yes,
your
yeah,
advice, your whatever you have
yes,
said has helped us a lot over in changing
quite
our
right,
own life. That
quite
is the
right,
thing.
quite right.
So coming on
Yes.
to the next. So how have you evolved as a leader over time? What leadership lessons what you can give, what you have learned along the way?
Obviously, as all individuals, we evolve. We are always, I think, till the Yamraj comes, we all have to evolve. And looking back,
Yeah.
yes, yeah, I think I evolved a lot. Maybe for many years, I used to believe that. If my is happy with me, and bosses, my reporting officer, reviewing officer is they are happy with me, my work, my performance, my output. I did not care a lot about the the networking and the parallel peers and so on. And maybe if I reflect back, maybe in my initial stages, I could be sometimes harsh, maybe sometimes short tempered, and always, because I wanted to do things faster. I When I became DGM and GM, I realized that I have to give this up because I used to try to take on if I found my subordinate not able to do the task or not up to the task. I used to do his job for him, and because I wanted things to go fast. I wanted to accomplish.
yeah,
But then as I evolved, I realized no, I have to spend more time on the leadership role. And even if the quality of the work is not coming up from subordinates, I have to guide them, train them. That is one lesson I learned. I became more pointed, more specific, more laser sharp in my communication because I think giving a clear communication to subordinates to the team is very important. I
yes,
learned that. I became especially my stint as head of public relations, where I had to deal with outsiders, press people, other stakeholders. I think that gave me a lot of maturity. That gave me a lot of maturity. That those 5 years, I could see a lot of change in me. I could, was slightly more stable, more mature, more focusing on interpersonal relations, more emphasizing on empathy. Empathy is a very important skill, not only
correct.
for creativity, design thinking, but for leadership, interpersonal skills.
Leadership.
I could develop that empathy. So it has been a evolving process of leadership qualities. And one thing which
Yeah,
I always emphasized is, which was my strongest point, was obviously intelligence was not one of them, but I had a God gift from me, or God was kind to give me that attitude. And I always looked at the strong points of my superiors, my juniors, my colleagues, and I never looked at faults. I never looked at negative qualities. I always used to
yeah,
look, okay, what can I learn from this person? What can I learn from my subordinate? What can I learn from my colleague? Somebody is very good in keeping everything systematic. Somebody always invests in himself. Somebody does good networking. Somebody conducts meetings in a very professional manner. I always avoided the negative because everybody has got strengths and weaknesses. I
yeah,
focused on strengths, and I learned from the leaders, from my colleagues, and like we were lucky to have leaders who always had an open door policy, who always supported youngsters. I remembered that, and whatever level I reached, I always supported youngsters. I always maintained an open door policy. Anybody could meet me, but I have also learned time management. This is a very
yeah,
important quality. Do not waste your time. And as you go up in the hierarchy, do not allow others to waste your time. These are the two things
yeah,
which gave me a lot of success. Because you see, good manager is like Rahul Dravid or Tendulkar. What is the quality of a good batsman? They have a lot of time to play their shots. They are never hurried. Today you will find many managers always hurried. They don't listen. They don't have time for youngsters. They do not focus on training and development. Everybody is in the delivery mode. No, as you go up in the hierarchy, you have to be less on the delivery mode. You have to focus more on discovery. You have to focus more on motivating teams, building a team, developing youngsters, evaluating youngsters, rotating people. These are the things which you should focus. But I see around me many people at various senior level also today still in that shift manager mode, only looking at yesterday's production, looking at today's production. That is not the job of senior management. Senior management should be
yeah,
planning, making strategies, developing people, looking at the new things happening around the world, best practices. These things are missing because they do not manage the time well. Managing time well is very important for managers.
yeah. So, because actually the thing is that I met a lot of the people whom I coach. The thing is that when they are on a transitional path, they are from a, you can say, the junior level where execution level. So when they get promoted to the manager level, the thing is that they are still in the mode of execution. So
Yes, yes.
their managerial skills over there. and our execution path. Even I have faced
Yes.
my pupils over there who are upgraded from a managerial path to the top management over there, but still they are on a managerial path. So that the matters is the how you upskill yourself to the new position over there. That matters a lot.
Very
And with
important.
time management, nowadays it is the thing is that time management, yes, it is important over there. Now it is that how you are scheduling your time. That is one of the major
Definitely.
thing which is coming up over
See, what
there. Now,
happens is, yeah, please continue. Sorry.
yes, and coming on to the next part, sir, that what
Yeah.
personality traits are making a good leader, and what traits do you mostly look after when you are assembling a leadership team with you?
You see, leadership is, as James McGregor Burns said, leadership is the most observed and least understood phenomena on earth. So leadership is by itself, the mystical, magical world of leadership is there. So whether you attend a Harvard training program or your program as a coach or my program of 3 days on leadership, what makes a good leader, everybody knows, but it is very difficult to execute it. But
That is a mantra where the execution is.
yeah, coming to practical, my experience, what I learned from my seniors, my superiors, my leaders, and whatever I try to do at my level. The most important thing is integrity
Yes,
and trust. You have to build trust. You have to earn the trust of your team members. So being trustworthy is important. Having high level of integrity is important. Being a role model is important. Whether it is timekeeping or honesty or performance, people, your subordinates, your team is not going to believe what you say or propagate. They look at what you are doing. And if you are a role model, whether it's coming to on time or being disciplined, performing, or being honest, having a high value system, having credibility. I always emphasize credibility, keeping your word to your family, to your mother, father, friends, peers, subordinates, your customers, your stakeholders. I have very passionately, with even today, when I have nothing at stake, if I promise somebody that, okay, I'll do this, I'll send you this, brochure. Some people come and say, prepare this program schedule. I sit late at night. And sometimes my wife tells me, what the hell are you doing now? What are you trying to prove? I said, no. Once I have given my word, I have to maintain my credibility.
yeah,
When I talk about personal branding in the company, credibility is most important. Your bosses should know, okay, this person, if he has promised that he will do this job in this time, 99.9% he will do it. Or if he is facing any problem, he will come before that schedule and tell, sir, I need your help. So these are
yes,
the important things of role modeling, credibility, integrity, passion, having a vision for change, exercising influence. Influence will come from your domain expertise. Influence will come from your job knowledge. All these
yeah,
things are important for leadership. As well as developing a good team, see, one most important thing is I always try to look at a diverse team because the more diverse your team is, the more qualitative decisions will come, the more well-rounded actions will happen. Because if you have a one-dimensional participation in your team, the quality will not be there. So always look for diversity. I looked for the underdogs. During all my life, I've always favored the underdog. So many people who have been condemned by my predecessors, I gave them opportunities because, like I said, I believe everybody has got strength. So
yeah,
whenever I went to a position, I went with a new slate. I talked to all my team members, and I regularly talked to them. And irrespective whether what the past leaders had done, I gave opportunities to many people who had been condemned by the past, my predecessors, and they really came up to my expectations and did wonders. So looking at everybody with a clean slate, seeing the goodness in everybody, seeing the strengths and leveraging strengths. See, I've always leveraged my strengths
yes,
because after a certain age, you should be aware of your weaknesses, but do not focus on your weaknesses. My strengths have been communication, my strengths have been training, my strengths have been development, launching initiatives, things like that. I have always leveraged my strength. I'm aware of my weaknesses and I try to cover up my weaknesses by bringing my team members who are good in places where I am weak, so that I
Yes.
that we as a composite we deliver the results. And
Right.
most of the positions where I work, I think my team we could deliver results.
Right. As you have rightly said over there, that leadership is all about that what you perform, and the majorly thing is that leadership is all about that people follow you. They see you doing something and they are getting inspired and follow on your path and doing the same task. It's not
Yes,
directing somebody to do something, but it's
quite right.
inspiring somebody to do something what you are already doing. That
See,
is the thing.
the line between management and leadership is very thin. Where management ends and leadership starts, the
Right.
line is very thin. But the line is there. If
La-
people if people follow you just because you have authority, that you are going to write his appraisal, you are going to sanction him leave, you may have a hand in his promotion, you are relying on authority. But if people follow you because you have influence, if you can guide them, they can integrate their goals with your goals, you have domain expertise, you have knowledge, you are a role model, then you are using influence. So leaders
Right.
use influence, managers use authority. Please remember that. That is very important.
That is,
As we
and that is
yeah,
the point where the people have to emerging leader has to understand a lot of
yes,
what
yes, yes.
they need to be either a manager or a leader.
Or a leader. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So how do you did you map your personal organizational goals? Because what we have seen is the people mostly are following up on organizational goals. They don't have their own personal goals.
This is a very difficult question in the sense. If I look back, I don't think so. There was any conscious effort to map personal goals with organizational goals. I would say it's more of aligning your personal values with the values of the organization. I would say. If your
Right.
organization believes in commitment to excellence, it believes in concern for people, customer satisfaction, consistent profitability. These are the core values of sale at one point of time,
Yeah,
which hold true. Idea is how do you align your own values to the values of the organization? That is
yeah,
more important because I think when we work, we don't in a very maybe we should do that. But if I reflect back, I don't think so. There was any conscious effort to map the personal goals with the organizational goals. It somehow happened. It happened, but if youngsters are today listening to this podcast, it would make sense because, like I would just give an example. I don't know how appropriate that example is, but my own experience when I was suddenly plucked from HR and put into public relations, I thought that had I been given a hint 2 3 years back that this is a position which could be open for me, maybe I would have worked a little more for that, a little more for that.
yeah,
So I would just suggest, and I tell my young friends also that if you aspire to those positions, start working for those positions. Again, success comes when opportunity meets preparation. So
right.
there's a position X which requires 3 or 4 positions of experience. The organization may only give you one position and then promote you as that. But nothing stops you from getting vicarious experience by talking to people who are working in those positions so that you get some second hand knowledge so that when you get that promotion, get that position, then get that elevation, you hit the ground running and you do not, face difficulties. So that has to be a continuous process. Looking back at my career, I don't think so very formally I did that. I will confess. But it
Yeah.
makes sense
E-
to do it. It makes sense to do it. Yes.
Yeah. Even when I was discussing with the planning with my peers over there, when our coaches come to me, so we take upon that what do you aspire to be? What position do you
Yes.
want to be? At what time do
Yes.
you want to be? What are the key skills what are required? How you are going to upskill to that level? Because you can
Quite
only
right. Quite
rise
right.
when you upskill yourself to that level. That is the thing.
Quite right. Quite right. Quite right.
So coming on to the last, what
Yeah.
advice do you have for the aspiring leaders or young professionals who want to achieve success in their careers? What is the winning mantra you want to give to them?
Okay. That's the you know that's the crux of the whole.
The yeah, crux of the whole thing, last thing.
Like they say, you can't become an international cricketer just by reading the autobiographies and biographies of Tendulkar and Rahul Dravid and Steve Waugh, and you have to start playing cricket. The one is obviously you have to get into this magical, mystical world of leadership, which is very rewarding, very challenging. But coming for some few tips, which I also share with my participants, my students. One is, uh, I think we made that mistake and maybe did a mid course correction on that. Do not think of your career as a sprint. Do not just think of the next promotion. Okay, when will I become assistant manager or when will I become deputy manager? Think of your career as a marathon. Think of the 30, 35 years. That is one. Because once you have a long term perspective, then you will continuously invest in the long term goals. Upskill yourself, retrain, do online courses, and sometimes something which I tell even the young students, do not aim for promotion, do not aim for success, do not aim for money. Aim for achieving excellence in your field. If you are a mechanical engineer, if you are an industrial engineer, if you are an HR professional, if you are a finance person, if you are a marketing man, aspire, aim to be the best HR manager in the country and even international. Be the best mechanical engineer. Aim for excellence. Once you aim for excellence, money, promotion, success, all follows. They are byproducts. Now, these are the macro level things. Then coming to is focus on building a good brand within the organization. Build your strong personal brand. What is a personal brand? A personal brand is a mental image which comes to people's mind when they think about you. Whether you like it or not, you've already been branded. Your seniors, your colleagues have branded you. You are reliable, you are rigid, you are flexible, you are enterprising, you are a troublemaker. People have, so try to build a good personal brand. Improve your communication and presentation skills. In fact, today, three skills are most important. Knowledge, information is no longer important now. It is available on the tip of a button. Three things are important. Your ability to be creative and innovative. That even today, computers in AI, at least for the next 50 years, will not be creative and innovative. Second, communication and presentation. This is still very much a human trait. And third, your interpersonal skills, your empathy, emotional intelligence. Work on these skills because they are human skills. These skills today are no longer soft skills, they are the core skills. Without these skills, you can improve these skills, guard your credibility, guard your integrity. Please remember, communication, presentation is all icing on the cake. The real cake is your integrity, your strength of character, your value system, your ability to be maintain your credibility. These are skills which will take you a long way. This is what my advice, which I always give to whenever I talk to young people, is think of it as a marathon. Keep on investing yourself, and like we say in very should again, it has been my motto in life. जैसे हम बोलते हैं ना, दूसरों की लाइन छोटी करने में टाइम वेस्ट मत करो, अपनी लाइन लंबी करो. Throughout my career, I never bothered what other people are doing or what they are saying about me. I always tried out doing new things, taking new initiatives, being very creative, launching new initiatives, even as a junior manager, because I always believe, अगर आपने junior level पे कुछ नया नहीं किया है, if you have not applied discovery skills, आप सोच रहे हो कि आप GM बन के, ED बन के, MD बन के, डायरेक्टर बन के करोगे, नहीं. मैंने देखा है. I have seen people reaching the top who, because they did not do anything new, interesting in their young career, they cannot do it at the senior level. So keep on doing new things. Last, as Stephen Covey says, shrink your circle of concern. We have two circles, circle of concern, circle of influence. Circle of concern is things, it could be, what will happen to Ukraine, who will be, whether Trump will come or not, and things like that. Let us not bother ourselves on those things. Circle of influence means what you can impact your family, your friends, your neighborhood, your community, your job, your performance, your team's performance, development of your team members. focusing on development of team members, looking after the welfare of your team members, being accessible to team members, having an open door policy. These are very important things for leaders. So enhance your circle of influence. Do not bother too much about circle of concern. And above all, do not waste your time. Manage your time well. And as you go up, do not allow other people to waste your time. These are some of the things which I can tell youngsters, which I always tell youngsters. Thank you.
So you have told everything in the crux that the people integrity matters a lot. You have to manage your time well, invest in
Yes.
yourself, have mentors in your life, go for upskill yourself, and be master of your own craft. As I still remember that one question was asked to the our legendary one- what was the name of the person that in Kung Fu that
Bruce Lee,
oh,
Bruce Lee,
Bruce Lee, that
Bruce Lee.
yeah, Bruce Lee. That do you fear from a person knowing about thousand ways on how to kick? He said, no, I'm not afraid of a person who knows thousand ways of to kick, but I'm afraid of a person that who knows one way to kick and who has practiced it thousand times.
Quite right. Quite right. Yes.
That happens. That is so a lot
La-
to learn. Yes,
last
a lot.
last
Yes,
point last point I just wanted, and which I always emphasize, is to youngsters, best way to develop, best way to become a domain expert, improve your communication and presentation skills, is become a trainer, become a teacher. I know most large companies have their own training institutes, whether they are in the private sector or the public sector. Right at a very, very young age, even as I think assistant manager, deputy manager, I got into training. I used to conduct sessions on discipline management, leadership, motivation. Initially faced a lot of humiliation, where people exposed my uh, lack of knowledge or lack of expertise. But after doing it 5, 6, 10, 20 times, you become an expert.
yeah,
So the best way to develop and learn is become a trainer. First, become an in-house trainer for your company, and then slowly, whenever you get opportunities, go out. And I think there was one thing which you probably did not ask was how do you balance work-life balance? I'll
yeah.
just we
That
we are running on time,
yeah,
out of time. I always tell people, please have good hobbies, because hobbies give you relaxation, gives you satisfaction, give you happiness. They relax you. Once you are relaxed, you take good decisions, you are more creative, and everything will go away. Your position, your power, your maybe your friends, relatives. The only thing which will remain with you is your hobby. Whether it is music, playing an instrument, singing, reading, even quizzing, anything. Always
thank you,
have
sir.
good hobbies. They are going to be the anchor which is going to, and then you talk about resilience, facing failure. When everything is going wrong in your personal and professional life, hobby is something which will sustain you. Because that is
Obviously,
give satisfaction. Always should. If you don't have hobbies, please go and develop a hobby and start a hobby. This is my
your hobby will help you in standing up. It will be aligning your mind to one point. It will give you some purpose,
yes.
keeping you on track. And thank you very much, Jaggi sir, that
Thank
for
you.
joining on the leadership spotlight. And the viewers get ready for inspiring stories, actionable insights, and a whole lot of leadership wisdom. Let's dive in. And if you have not subscribed to the channel, subscribe it now to learn more about from the more leaders who are coming up next. Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
Thanks for, a
Thank
lot
you.
for your time. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Pleasure.
Thank you.